Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling when you're looking at a company's financial records and it just feels like you're staring at a massive wall of random, disconnected numbers? Trust me, you are definitely not alone. It is so easy to get completely lost in the spreadsheets. But I actually like to think of raw financial data as a complex mystery, kind of like the scene of a crime, just waiting for a sharp financial detective to come along and solve it. And today, we're taking on that exact detective role. We're going to go way beyond the raw numbers to figure out what a business is actually trying to tell us.
Okay, let's dive right into this with a fantastic quote from our source material that perfectly sets the stage for why we're here. It states, "The figures are dumb. No meaningful conclusions can be drawn from these figures unless they are read, analyzed, and interpreted." What this is telling us is that a balance sheet or an income statement sitting all by itself doesn't actually tell you the story of a business. It's literally just the raw evidence. If we want to find the absolute truth about a company's financial health, we have to actively interrogate that evidence. We simply cannot just accept it at face value.
So, what exactly is our investigative process here? It's called financial statement analysis. By definition, this is the process of critically examining financial information to identify gaps, measure performance, and meticulously dissect the true financial health of a firm. Think of it as our magnifying glass. We're taking a pile of confusing historical data, things like past transactions, old ledgers, formal records, and transforming all of that into actionable, scientifically based insights. It is how we bridge the gap between what the numbers say and what business decisions actually need to be made. The absolute biggest advantage here? It completely replaces guesswork with hard, undeniable evidence. Section 1. The interested parties. Who exactly is investigating the company? So, our suspects, or rather our investigators, basically fall into two main camps. First up, we have internal users. These are the insiders. They want to see exactly how the engine of the business is running. Management is poring over the data to make future strategic decisions, and, well, let's be honest, to make sure the profit and loss accounts actually justify their bonuses. Owners are relentlessly checking for true profitability. Even trade unions analyze these statements to track the trend of the company's growth so they can negotiate fairly. On the flip side, we have external users. If the insiders want to know how the engine is running, these are the people trying to decide if they should buy the car or lend it money for gas. If you're buying stocks on your phone, you're an external user looking for safety. Prospective investors are obsessively assessing earning capacity, liquidity, and overall safety. Meanwhile, lenders, like your big banks, are strictly checking solvency just to guarantee the company can actually pay them back.
Section 2. Goals of the investigation. What are we trying to uncover? Because gut feelings are notoriously flawed, we absolutely need concrete objectives to guide our financial investigation. We essentially have 5 primary goals here. We want to investigate the future potential of the business. We need to nail down its actual profitability and future prospects. We make comparative studies to gauge operational efficiency. Basically, we want to see exactly how we stack up against the competition. We meticulously examine the earning capacity across various business activities. And finally, we must determine both short-term and long-term solvency. So the crucial point is that we are actively searching for undeniable mathematical proof of how efficient, profitable, and solvent a business truly is. We are leaving absolutely no room for guesswork.
Section 3. The Analyst's Toolkit. The investigative techniques we use to crack the case. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of our toolkit. We have 4 primary techniques: comparative statements, common size statements, trend analysis, and ratio analysis. These are the absolute heavy hitters of financial investigation. Let's walk through how this builds into a practical, step-by-step process. First up, we've got comparative statements. This is where we display financial statements from multiple years right side by side. It lets us track the absolute increases and decreases in values from one year to the next, which is a fantastic way to quickly pinpoint strong and weak areas. Second, we use common size statements. This is clever. We convert raw items into percentages of a common base, like making everything a percentage of total sales. This makes it incredibly easy to compare our firm's overall performance against competitors, completely regardless of their size. Third is trend analysis. Here, we study a long series of financial data just to reveal overall operational directions over time. Are we trending up or spiraling down? And finally, ratio analysis. This is where we express the mathematical relationship between variables. Think debt to equity. It simplifies massive amounts of accounting data into bite-sized metrics and acts as the ultimate test for a company's liquidity and financial strength. Section 4. The blind spots, where the evidence might actually be lying to you. Every investigation has its red herrings, and ours is called window dressing. Companies have the ability to massage their data, totally within legal boundaries, mind you, to make their financial position look much, much better on the surface than it actually is in reality. They basically dress up the front window to attract investors, while hiding a massive financial mess just out of view in the back room. As analysts, we have to be super vigilant to see right through that display.
But beyond deliberate window dressing, there are real structural limitations to our evidence. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is these are the alibis that can fool an analyst if they take the numbers purely at face value. First off, these statements are based heavily on historical costs. They record what an asset cost years ago, completely ignoring what it might be worth on the current market today. Second, our analysis gets a little less effective over time because it doesn't account for price level changes and inflation. I mean, $1 today definitely isn't $1 from 5 years ago, right? Third, ratios can be highly misleading if you don't have the absolute data. Think about it. A 100% profit increase sounds absolutely amazing until you realize they literally only made a single dollar last year. And finally, a lot of this relies on personal judgment and really lacks universally proper standards for every single unique business scenario.
Which brings us to our final thought. Financial statements and the analysis techniques we've dug into today are incredible, absolutely necessary tools. They are the best way we have to scientifically dissect a company. But as we've just seen, they are inherently historical, and they have some major blind spots. They only ever show us a snapshot of the past, and sometimes it's a very highly curated snapshot. So the question I'll leave you with is this. If financial statements only show us the past, how much are you willing to risk on a company's future without doing your own sharp, investigative financial detective work? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and remember, always look beyond the raw numbers.